Everybody, welcome back. So today is going to be my January wrap up. I was gonna say I can't believe January is already over, but at the same time, January felt like an entire year all by itself. So kind of glad it's over, but also kind of, I don't know, it's that weird dichotomy of it went really fast and it also went really slow at the same time, and I don't really like it. But it happened and now we're here. Like I said, today is going to be my January wrap up. I will be telling you what I read, what I finished, what I thought of what I read, and all of that. So let's just get into this video. So if you watched my January TBR from a couple weeks ago, then you know what was on the docket for reading, and my goal was 3 books, which I know compared to a lot of booktubers, it's not a lot, but compared to how I usually am able to get things done, it's a lot for me. So my goal was 3 books. I'm basically saying that I accomplished my goal, but I haven't quite technically hit my goal yet. And we'll start with the one that is causing the technicality. So I'm not 100% done with this book. This is The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I am almost done though. I have about 100 pages left to read. I will be finishing it today, but unfortunately I have to pre-film because all of this week that this video is going up, I'm gonna be out of commission for filming. I have to pre-film. So I wasn't quite done at the filming of this, but hopefully by the time you guys are seeing this video, I have actually finished it. I will have my Goodreads account down below if you want a more comprehensive review. Hopefully, if I've been able to write it yet, some of my reviews I probably won't be able, this one I probably won't be able to do a really in-depth review of on my Goodreads, but I will eventually go back to it and do that. So far, as of this moment, having not finished it yet, I am really enjoying this. I am captivated, and I've read some reviews and heard some people talk about this, that they felt like nothing was happening, which is weird to me because I feel like so much is happening. There's so much nuance constantly going on in this novel, and I'm just really thoroughly enjoying it. I have a really soft spot for mystery novels. Ever since I read Agatha Christie and Then There Were None back in like 8th grade, I've always liked mystery novels. Something about them just makes me really happy. I especially like mystery novels like this, where it's not like cut and dry, straightforward, I'm gonna figure this out in 30 pages or less. I don't like that. It's like doing a puzzle and there's only 5 pieces in it. Like, I don't want that. I want a puzzle with like 1,000 pieces in it, and even near the end of it, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish it. That's the kind of, I like them to be challenging and weird and to be unexpected. And so far, I don't know if there's a plot twist because I don't know if it happens in the last 100 pages, because I haven't quite figured out what's going on yet at this point. The other thing I actually do like, I love historical writing. I, again, have a BA in English literature, and one of my special studies was Middle English and historical fictions, or historical writing. So I did a lot of Jane Austen, very stereotypical, I know. But I usually like period writing. This book is set in the 1600s, but is not written in a way that alludes to it being the 1600s. I read an interview with Stuart Turton saying he did that on purpose so it would be easier to digest in a way and would be more modern while also taking place in a time period where obviously they wouldn't have talked the way they talk in this book. I know that probably bothers a lot of people, but this isn't a historical fiction, so I'm actually okay with it. I found it actually a lot more enjoyable. If you've ever had to take a class on Middle English, then you know that sometimes period pieces and period writing can very much so make your brain hurt. And seeing that this is already written in a way that you're thinking anyways, I'm kind of glad for the reprieve from the difficult writing style. I know some people probably enjoy it, but not everyone. So I feel like this is more accessible. I enjoyed that. I just really like the characters in this novel as well. Basically what this is a ship on its way to Amsterdam. It's housing a prisoner in some ways, but we never really find out what he's a prisoner for until way later on. And even then it's like, okay, well, why does this matter? But they're basically on a voyage to Amsterdam. I don't know if they ever make it at this point, and a murder happens, and then another murder happens, and then potentially another murder happens. Lots of maybe potentially murders, or is it a demon? We don't know. That's the mystery. So far, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm not quite done though at the time of filming this, so I'm counting it as a success, but I can't give you a rating of what I think of it ultimately, because for all I know, maybe the ending just is super disappointing, or it just ends and I get no answers. So I can't give you a rating on this, but I am enjoying the read, if that makes sense. So I'm very excited to finish this. Again, Goodreads will be down in the description so you guys can see what my rating of ultimately is. I find that I'm more lenient, I feel like, with books. I feel like if I enjoy it, I'm more likely to give it 4 or 5 stars, but if I don't enjoy it, I just don't finish it. So I have a harder time reading books I just don't enjoy. But now moving on to the other books. So basically that's a mystery. Another one I would say was a thriller mystery in a way, thriller action mystery. And then the other one I would say is a contemporary literary book. So I'm gonna talk about the first one that I ended up finishing. So the first book that I finished in January was Six of Crows. I was actually reading this in December and it took me a really long time to get through it just because December ended up being crazy. But I really did thoroughly enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It got really slow for me towards the end, which should have been the most action-packed in my opinion. But towards the end, I just was getting really bogged down with the minutia of them trying to get into this place, which I think, again, is kind of sad because I should have been the most interested. Basically, what this novel is it's following a group of gang members, Kaz being the main character and the gang leader. But basically, it's following these gang members to do a heist in a super secure city to obtain a man who has developed something that all of the nations want to use for nefarious things and they're kind of evil. They try to break into the super secure city to break out this person to then claim a prize. So it's basically a heist novel, an action heist novel. And while it was really interesting, I think more so in the beginning for me, by the time the heist was there, I lost interest, which why did that happen? It may have just been because it took me so long to read this, who knows? But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I did pick up the second one, which you guys will be seeing in my February TBR. So I enjoyed it enough, but I rated this, I think, 4 stars. Thinking about it now that I've processed it a little longer, I probably should rate it like 3.5 to 4. I am like, I don't know, I'm really struggling. I love fantasy novels, but I struggle to find one that I really connect with. Like nothing quite does it for me. And while world building was really good in this, character building was pretty good, I would say. I didn't feel overly connected to any of these characters. And again, this might be because I didn't read the trilogy or or whatever came before this one. So maybe that's my bad, but didn't feel overly invested. It was interesting. Pleasant enough to read. I really did enjoy it for the most part, but yeah, just a few things that are like lingering on my mind about it. And then the second novel that I actually successfully finished in the month of February is by Matt Haig, and this is The Midnight Library. And again, if you watched my January TBR, I was really conflicted about this novel at first, thinking that this was going to be religious, and a lot of you guys let me know that it's not a religious novel, which thank goodness for me. I don't particularly enjoy those. They don't really do anything for me. This was more so a contemporary literary novel, so I really enjoyed where this went, and it was unexpected for me. I was really kind of half expecting when I first started reading it that this would be super freaking depressing, but it wasn't. It was actually quite uplifting. I feel like I should have started the year off reading this first because this novel really just put me in a good place. It made me feel the warm fuzzies on the inside. So basically what this novel is it follows Nora Seed, who is our protagonist. We go through the last few days of her life with her as she contemplates taking her own life. After the act is committed, she is then sent and catapulted into what I assumed from reading the synopsis originally was purgatory or limbo. I guess you could still say that she's in limbo, but she's basically hovering between life and death after attempting to take her own life. And because of that, she ends up in a place called the Midnight Library. In this library, she is then able to pull books off of the shelves. The books contain different versions of the life she could have had if she had made different choices, and she is allowed to go through these other versions of life until one sticks with her. And this took a lot of turns, and it kind of, towards the end of it, I was kind of expecting what ends up happening to happen, but it still just was such a pleasant ride to get there, and I ended up feeling so much compassion and empathy towards Nora as a character. And having been someone who suffers with social anxiety and depression throughout my entire life, this was something that really hit home for me and was completely relatable without making me feel ostracized or weird about my own issues. It made me feel uplifted, and that was my fear going into this, is that I would feel depressed and I would get sad about it. Sometimes these books can be too heavy for me, but I was so pleasantly surprised. This is definitely my favorite book that I read out of this month. It's the best one. It makes me want to read so much more from Matt Haig. I really want to read, a lot of you guys said The Humans by him is really good, or Humans by him is really good, and I think that's definitely going to be in a future TBR. There's something about reading something that makes you get that warm fuzzy feeling and makes you feel like you're like floating after you're done reading it, and just makes you feel like, okay, everything is okay in the world. That's how his writing made me feel. His writing was also very clear, concise, and easy to get through. I didn't feel bogged down by too many like overly complicated words or over complicated imagery. It was all very simple and easy to understand, and I just liked it. It just felt like I was watching this all happen, and I felt very connected to the entire thing, and very, very happy I read this. This will probably most definitely be a book I reread pretty frequently, and it's one of the books that have made me feel the best in a long time. Addie LaRue was another one that I felt really good reading. This one is another one I feel really good about reading. I have a thing for books where you really go through some stuff. I really have a thing for books that deal with mortality. This was amazing. I rated this 5 stars. I still feel good about that rating, 100%. Highly recommend this one. Out of all the books I read this month, I would recommend this guy if you have not read it. And that, guys, is my entire January wrap up. I know I only read 3, so it's a pretty short one. Technically I only read 2, but you know what I mean. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to try and up my number here soon in books being read. Honestly, I know 3 doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but for me, I feel really good about that. That's a really good start for me. And my goal for reading this year is only 20 books. So I really feel like I'm on the right track for once, and I just felt good. It felt good to read some good books, and nothing was overly off-putting, so already a better start to the year than 2020 was altogether. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. Also make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and let me know down in the comments what was your favorite book that you read in January. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!